Okay, so the wingman, Charisma King, he approached first. So he started talking to these girls. I'll be completely honest, from the get-go, they're not my type. They're not really my type physically. But I know a lot of guys, this definitely is their type. A lot of guys are into this type of girl. I don't know how I would describe it, but they're not really my type, but I'm going to be a good wing. I'm going to help him out because he likes her. I'm going to be a good wing. But it turns out it takes a very interesting turn later in the interaction. You're going to see things kind of fall apart in a funny way later on. So my friend leaves and I end up taking both of the girls home. Okay, so I'm approaching after my friend and helping be a wingman.
No, stop.
Always or just right now? Always or just right now?
Have you been here
Always.
during spring break? I've been here during spring break.
Good point. There's no beaches in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. We party in the beach. Like, it's like.
So one thing I'm noticing, I haven't seen this clip since I recorded it. And this was recorded during the peak of COVID. That's why I'm wearing a mask. I'm not a mask bitch that wears them when I don't have to, but it was required to wear them indoors at this time. So it's back then. And the first thing I'm noticing is my tonality is pretty dominant, right? The way I'm talking, it's friendly. I don't sound like I have mean intentions. I don't sound like I'm being a dick, but I also sound dominant, right? I'm very expressive the way I'm speaking, and it's somewhat of a breaking rapport tonality, just like it is talking to the camera right now.
Someone getting married, or she just got out of a bad breakup, need a rebound.
So there's some framing there. When you ask a girl what she's doing in the city she's in, because she's traveling, I'm saying, so did she just go through a bad breakup? She needs a rebound. What am I doing there? I'm creating the frame that they're basically on the prowl. I'm doing it in a humorous kind of tongue-in-cheek way, but I'm still putting that idea out there that they're on the prowl to try to pick up guys. For pickup, that's a great frame to set. Not that you're trying to seduce her, but that she's the one trying to seduce you. There are a million different ways to do that, but the more you set that frame, the more you create that idea, and it has to some extent be true that you're not too invested, that you're not needy, you're not clingy. You can't just totally fake it and then be super clingy. She's going to feel it's off. So you do have to learn to have the mentality of being willing to walk away. But the more you put that idea into the interaction, the more girls will start pursuing you. They'll start chasing you as opposed to you having to chase them.
Made some friends there. We went to the strip club. And we got like $15 drinks.
Male strip club or female strip club?
Female strip club. And the first one it was like all guys. There was an NBA player with us. I don't know who it was though.
Well, it'd be a lot more impressive if you knew which one. See, I'd rather go to male strip.
There she was trying to do a DHV. He was like, oh, we were with an NBA player. Girls love saying things like that. I mean, guys do too. But she's trying to show off. And I'm not being totally confrontational and saying, oh, that's lame. But I'm saying it would be a lot cooler if you knew who it was in a kind of teasing, kind of a poking way. So there's a line you can cross where you just come across as a dick. If you're like, oh, that's lame. Oh, you have a Gucci shirt? That's lame. Oh, you're a model? That's lame. Some guys go that route. If that's what you're doing, it's just confrontation. But if you tease them, it'd be cooler if you knew who it was. Then that creates tension. That helps build attraction. So it's very powerful to use teasing, but you don't want to cross the line from teasing to just being a dick. And a lot of guys get those two mixed up.
Strip clubs because I'm learning to someday I want to be a male stripper for 3 to 6 months. So I got to learn, because they're not very popular. You got to be really good to stand out.
Have like the best line.
Well, no, I was thinking I'm gonna go for the dad bod.
The dad bod.
It's kind of like it's 8-pack, 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 and then change of pace. Guy with the dad bod comes out. Like the guy from Parks and Rec before he was a Marvel hero.
That could work. It works for you.
I mean, dad bods are in.
Yeah, they are.
This is really just vibing. It's just talking for the sake of enjoying conversing. There's not really a mission behind it. There's not a goal behind it. I'm not like trying to do, it's just having fun. Most of your interactions should be that. You're just connecting, having fun, bouncing off of each other. It should be playful. It's not all goal oriented and like, how do I get, I have a general idea of how to move things forward, of how to make the interaction not too platonic, not too friendly, not to be too much of a nice guy. But really, most of the interaction is just for the sake of having a good time with her. And if she's having fun with you, eventually that leads to getting naked.
You know, you know that he'll never cheat on you if he has a dad bod.
I remember.
It means it implies trustworthiness.
I guarantee the reason she said that is she dated a guy with a dad bod who cheated on her.
And that you don't have to be perfect around him. How can he judge you? What, have you been cheated on by a guy with a dad bod?
No, I've seen Miami dad bods, like guys with dad bods that are like still like pretty muscular.
Really? I thought Miami was known for people who are ripped.
Oh no, they are, but there are still like the guys who do have dad bods, and they're still pretty trashy.
You're not luring us to an alleyway, are you?
I don't know where he's going.
So what did I do there? You're not luring us to an alleyway, are you? I am creating the frame that I'm the prey, if you will, right? I'm the one who's going to be seduced. She's the one trying to sleep with me. And if you do that if it came across too serious, that wouldn't work. It would come across weird, right? It would come across fake. But I'm doing it in the guise of jokes, right? I'm doing it in a funny, playful way. And even though it is a joke, it still is putting that idea into the interaction. And the more you do that, the more it makes the girl feel that you're detached, you're not taking this too seriously, but it is sexual. But you're the one who's used to girls trying to pick you up. That's what you want to make her feel. That you're the one, that women are always after you. And what you say in the interaction can make her start to feel that. Like I said, it can't entirely be faked. So if you're not willing to walk away, if you get too attached and too needy, she's still going to feel that. But what you say does make a difference. And the frame you set does make a difference. There are a lot of different ways to do that, to set the frame that she's the one pursuing you. But these are some good examples of that.
You're just going like in one direction.
Oh, that's
You
cool.
Like legit.
We just finished getting drinks, like,
Did you?
yeah, I mean, do you want
Okay,
to drink?
past
I don't
this
care.
point, it's not really that busy. There's like a lot of high-end spots. Back this way though, it is still pretty busy. It's usually between, as a local, usually between Cosmo and here, it's pretty busy.
I don't know anyone.
Avery, do you want to drink?
We could. I mean, there's that one bar right there, right?
That's what
It's like a
that's what I'm
2-minute
saying
walk.
with that.
Yeah, but there's only like.
All right, so you're gonna drink with me, right?
So it's important that you don't just walk around aimlessly. At some point, you have to have an activity, something you're going to do together. An easy one is to get a drink, to get a smoothie, if there's like clothing stores, to go to a clothing store, to just sit down, anything like that. You have to lead it somewhere so that it's not just meandering. This is one of the most common mistakes that guys make when approaching women, is that they don't lead things anywhere. And eventually the girl's like, well, it feels like this is pointless. So it was nice meeting you. It's on you to take responsibility and to lead things forward.
You gonna drink with me?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't need them. It's okay. We're better friends now. Avery, fuck you. I got Shelly now.
I'll watch you
Shelly's
get
my new
destroyed.
friend. She's gonna destroy and break my heart.
I'll watch you get blackout and robbed.
Oh my god.
All right,
It's just a good
are gonna
time.
steal my liver or kidneys. They're both shit, and you won't get anything for them.
No value. No value.
Exactly.
But he's got a heart of gold, though.
I'm a nice
'Cause he's a
man.
sweetheart.
My mom thinks so. My mom thinks I'm a nice man. She's wrong.
She's wrong.
She's wrong.
Okay, Cartman.
How are they?
There's an important difference between our dynamic here and a lot of wings. A lot of wings, as soon as there's girls involved, they're like, I have a chance at getting pussy. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. They ignore their wing. Their wing ceases to exist. He disappears into the ether as soon as they're like, I might be getting laid. And they basically stop being friends. They stop acting like allies and having a good time with each other, and they're just focused on getting laid. But we're able to have a good time without needing the girls to be included, right? We're able to make jokes amongst ourselves without needing to constantly focus on the girls and to get their attention. And having that aloofness makes you much more attractive because it shows non-neediness. You're able to just have fun for fun's sake. You don't need to get laid. You don't need the girl to have fun.
That's fucked up.
We own our own businesses. I smoke when I work.
We're not prostitutes, by the way.
But-
Because when people say I own a business, like half the time it means they're a prostitute.
Do we give up prostitute
Okay,
vibes?
good. I automatically thought you guys were prostitutes. That was the first thing.
like maybe pimps or something.
See, I knew it. I told you. We're handsome enough to be.
I mean, in Vegas, there's a lot of pimps around. It makes sense.
Yeah.
See, I always told you we're pretty enough to pull that shit off. Sexy. My mom thinks so. Whoa.
That's it.
Whoa.
Your mom thinks you're sexy. That was. I'm glad they weren't listening.
You had to read me.
Your phrasing there was not correct. I hope.
All right.
By the way, you're lucky because the bottom half of your face is just as pretty as the top half. That's the thing about masks. Like some people, top half of their face, there's no flaws, and then the bottom half is, you know,
I fall apart.
not as
They got,
good.
like, crooked teeth.
Oh, hello.
I fall
Tesla?
apart without a mask. It's unfortunate.
But your bottom half isn't so bad.
I don't want no COVID, so all my
Everyone's kind of.
Yeah, there's a bar right here. It's like, what, a 2-minute walk? They don't have to worry about a lift or anything.
You guys should have taken shots with us, like at our hotel.
At Excalibur,
Yeah.
which is there, I think.
Yeah, because we have this whole bottle, and we leave literally like tomorrow.
Tomorrow night.
Something very important happened there. She just said, "Oh yeah, well, we have a whole bottle and we're leaving tomorrow." So when a girl wants to pull a guy, how do they usually do it? They usually, I've had exceptions, but they're not like, "Hey, want to come home with me? Hey, want to hook up?" Hey, rarely do they do that. They hint at the idea and see if you basically, take the bait, if you will. So, "Oh yeah, we have a bottle that we need to finish tonight." So there's like a 90% chance when she says something like that, like, "Where are you staying?" When she's trying to create a situation where it's easy for you to go home together, that's usually what she's doing.
Well, there may still be time then.
Like, finish, we can't bring it in the airport. And that's really expensive.
We can't bring it to the airport. If only there was some way we could have this drink tonight. I don't know. Do you have any ideas? I don't know.
Well, that does seem like a noble cause.
We have Fireball and we have Jameson.
Oh, really? Good taste. I like Jameson. Jameson's my go-to. Huh? You hate it? Did you say you hate it?
I've never.
So she's basically pulling me, and I am pretty confident at this point that it's on.
Tried it. That's hers. That's like her drink. Mine is Fireball. I love Fireball.
Fireball is, I mean, universally beloved for younger people.
I mean, I haven't really. I've been just drunk all these past weeks. But like,
There you go. Well, does being drunk make your chakras more aligned? No.
I'm not a fan. So which one is yours?
I don't know enough to guess for sure. I have guesses, but
I'll meditate when I get back home.
you know meditation?
Yeah, I'm very spiritual.
Well, I like that.
So I'm gonna make sure I align them. Because I've been
Like-
feeling like this. But
Meditation makes your life.
So she's talking about spirituality, and that's something that we have common ground on. There's something that I'm interested in. I've watched a lot of Alan Watts and read books and Osho and all that kind of shit. Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now. Because that's an interest of mine, now we have a topic that we can go into much more depth about and build a real connection. So that's a big part of any interaction, is finding where you have similar interests, because once you find that, then the vibe, the chemistry is going to naturally be there a lot more, right? If you're a conspiracy theorist, you find out they're a conspiracy theorist. Well, now you have this connection.
So much better. This is gonna sound kind of cheesy, but so I used to have panic disorder. So my life was basically a living hell. I was always anxious.
So I talk about how I had panic disorder, and that's a very negative thing, right? Talking about how I had anxiety and this bad experience. Those kinds of things, you don't want to sound like a negative person. You don't want to sound like you have a negative mentality and that you're a victim. That is total turn off for women if you sound like a victim, right? It's like if you cry in front of your girlfriend about your problems, she's never going to want to have sex with you again, probably. Women lose all respect for a guy who shows that kind of emotional weakness. And there's a difference between vulnerability and weakness. And so here I'm being vulnerable, talking about my struggles, but I'm not talking about it as if I'm a victim. I'm talking about how I overcame those struggles. So like another thing I might talk about is the death of my father. If that just happened, I wouldn't bring it up with a girl, right? If it happened very recently and it was something that I still hadn't overcome in some way or hadn't learned from in some way, then I probably just wouldn't talk about it. But being someone who had panic disorder and I overcame it, and meditation was part of how I overcame it, well, she's already talking about spirituality. So there's a connection there. And I'm talking about it in an empowering way. I'm talking about how I went through it. So it's actually very good. It's very powerful to talk about something that you struggled with, that you went through, as long as you don't sound like you're currently a victim of that thing.
It's more like liberal, spiritual, but not really people on the East Coast.
Interesting.
Not really into that.
I'm from Arizona, which is kind of, I mean, that's not really the West
That's
Coast.
still like literally on the other side of the river. Like,
They just flip to be more, they just flip to be liberal.
if you're touching like California, like literally right next to it, coast it, you're
My mom was Hindu, so,
really?
but it wasn't normal to be Hindu there, but my mom was Hindu. So, oh yeah, I'm half Indian, you can't tell. No, I'm not half Indian. But she was, her
you
boyfriend
really
was
though?
Hindu. No, I'm not half Indian. But I am.
I love how gullible people are. If you say something with a convincing tonality, people will believe pretty much anything. I'm half Indian, can't you tell? I just said it very convincingly. And she's like, wait, are you? And they say, no, I'm not. She's like, oh, are you? Like double. Like she needs to ask twice. Oh, you're half Indian? How surprising. Maybe I should have just went with it. Certainty, people just want to fall into the frame. It's just a natural instinct that when someone is certain, you want to go along with it. And that is one of the most powerful concepts in game. If you are certain about the idea that this woman should be attracted to you, the chances of her feeling that are significantly higher if you genuinely believe it. And I know this partly because I've had nights where, let's say back in the day, my anxiety was really bad. And I had a night where my anxiety was acting up and I felt like shit. And I just felt terrible. I had all these symptoms, and every girl, I would see people looking at me and they'd have like a negative look on their face. I don't know how much of that was in my head and how much of that was real. But then I would approach and I would get rejected very quickly. Almost every girl would be like, I don't want to be around this guy. He's weird. I would get rejected again and again. I would say the same things because I was in a very negative state. I would get like a 90% instant rejection rate. Then on the flip side, when I just felt like daddy's home, that's the energy. I just feel completely confident. The opposite would happen. Girls would be checking me out. Was it real or was it my perception? I don't know. But then when I did approach, every interaction would go well. Even when the girls did reject me, they would be apologetic about it. They'd be like, man, I really wish I didn't have a boyfriend. And most girls would be super receptive. My appearance didn't change. It was just my emotional state. It was just my expectation. When my expectation was that I'm going to get rejected, people don't like me, this is uncomfortable, the world's an unfriendly place, that became true. And I got constantly rejected. And when my assumption was that I am fucking sexy, every girl wants me, I'm like the next Brad Pitt, that's just how my mind, it's like very narcissistic. This shit's going through my head. That's how I'm feeling. Every girl's like, wow, this guy must be somebody. And then I would just make out with 5 girls in one night and pull a threesome or things of that nature. And that would happen every night. If I was in that state, every girl would like me. And I'd pretty much always end up taking a girl home almost every single time.
So the most common one is just dominance and submission, which is general.
That's number one.
Okay, so the audio wasn't working there for a while, but we started talking, and this is a great topic. So we were talking about psychology. We went from spirituality to psychology. She said she was into that. And then from psychology, we're talking about women's sexual fantasies. So that's the topic. And I'm talking about the most common female sexual fantasies. This is a way to talk about sex, to show expertise, to show that you know what you're doing, that you understand women in a way where it's not, I'm trying to fuck you. It's in a educational way that makes it a lot less pushy.
There's no way it's vampire.
That is number 1. I said it's in the top 3. Vampire's top 3.
Oh, okay. The vampire's not the number one.
Pretty sure it's like number 3.
Okay. That's weird.
And by the way, the top female sexual fantasies are dominance and submission, vampires, and I believe werewolves.
Well, what are all... Okay, so there's the Vampire Diaries, Twilight, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's other ones too I can't even think of. Like, there's so many
I don't think people like.
things that girls are really into. Vampires is like the most common thing.
I mean, in the show, the movies are hot, but I think that was like a real life fetish. Like,
it's not that they literally want vampires, it's the implications of it are sexy for some reason. I thought maybe you'd know.
Like that dark, mysterious vibe. Like,
Where they're dark and mysterious, they're powerful,
yeah.
right? They're strong.
And I'm kind of teasing her there. I thought you'd know. As a woman, you should know what turns women on about vampires. And then I'm going to explain, which basically I'm showing sexual authority, right? That I understand sex and I'm more comfortable with it than she is, which in itself is a type of dominance. And dominance and submission, like we just said, that's the number one female sexual fantasy. And being the sexual authority, being kind of the teacher and she's the student, which is a very common, like that's very common in porn. That's not a coincidence. That is a good way to create a frame that women are going to find attractive. So I won't go into the details, but the reason he left is because his girlfriend, who at the time he had an open relationship with, was getting jealous or needed to see him or whatever, and he left to go see his girlfriend. I'm kind of confused because we just spent like 30 minutes on a poll. He approached the girls initially, and we just spent like 30 minutes on a poll that we're filming, and he just leaves random. I'm like, that's weird. But I decide, well, I'm not really into this girl. I was just being a wing, but the other one I'm actually a little bit more attracted to, and I don't have a problem with the idea of a threesome. So let's make, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
Whenever he leaves the house for like an hour or more, she starts to...
And it is much easier. Women, the idea of having a threesome sounds like a big deal. Women being bisexual is considered sexy. It's considered hot. It's a way of exploring. And they've actually done scientific research that shows when you show straight men like gay porn, they don't get aroused. They don't have a reaction. But when you show straight women lesbian porn, they do get aroused. Women's sexuality appears to be, according to these scientific studies, just more fluid. They are more likely to be attracted to women, even if they're not gay. So most women are somewhat attracted to other women. On some level, they're open to the idea of having a threesome, hooking up with other girls. So it's really not that hard to make that happen. It's a lot easier than most guys think it is.
Get really needy and be really upset that he's gone and jealous and stuff. And he knows he should break up with her. He's always saying he should break up with her. And she knows they shouldn't.
So the girl got pissed because she liked him and he just left. And so she's kind of pissed and disappointed. And so I'm mediating, basically explaining it in a way that I'm not just totally taking his side, because if I do that, then they're not going to like me. But I'm also trying to make it seem understandable, right? I'm trying to make it easy for them to understand and be like, oh, okay, I understand. That makes sense. So that I can then move things forward myself, because the dynamic has, it's just gotten way more in my favor.
No, guys actually do worse after breakups than women, statistically. Men are more likely to commit suicide for a breakup, and it takes them longer to get over.
I heard that. I heard in the moment the girls are sad and the guys are happy, but then like 5 days later, girls are happy and the guys are like depressed.
Well,
yeah, because the girl has already had sex with 8 guys.
Because the girls are onto another guy, and the guys...
I am consistent.
Most of them don't have a backup option. Cards Against Humanity? You've never played Cards Against Humanity?
No.
A lot of people have bought Cards Against Humanity who watch my videos. I need to get a sponsorship, but it's a great way to pull. Generally, it's best for 4 players, but you can make it work with 3, and it's kind of boring, which means you have to move on to something else, right? You can't play it for that long. So then it's like, oh, well, let's play a drinking game or let's do something else. So that's why I'm suggesting that. And it's just a very low investment reason to go back to someone's place. It's not like this big deal. It's not pushy. It's not too aggressive. And it's a game that's fun, and it's kind of sexual. It's kind of adult. So it's a good excuse to pull with.
Have you played it?
No. I never played that.
What is that?
It's this game. So have you ever played Apples to Apples?
I've heard of it, but I haven't played that in years. I forgot.
So it's this game. It's not like a sex game, but it's adult. So it's like some word like Hillary Clinton will come up, for example, something controversial. It's always controversial or dirty or like out there. And then you each get a hand of 10 cards, and each card you want to match to the black card, which could be, say, Hillary Clinton, or it could be like, I get diarrhea when, or something. And then you try to make the funniest connection, and then you win.
That reminds me of like Cards Against Humanity. I think that's the name of it.
I just like Cards Against Humanity.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so
That we really got you. You're like, I said I would say we could play Cards Against Humanity, and then you said that
Again, when I tease her, she starts playing with her hair. It's like clockwork every single fucking time that I tease her, that I do something that a nice guy wouldn't do, that I'm being a dick. That's every time she shows the most signs of attraction. She's like, when I'm making fun of her.
reminded me of Cards Against Humanity.
I don't know why it just clicked. I don't know. It clicked out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, that reminds me of that game. Wait, so what's the one you're talking about now?
Yeah, my place is like, it's walking distance.
So I'm saying my place is walking distance.
It's literally on the strip. We're gonna try.
That, do you want to play Cards Against Humanity? That's the way she said it is very key. She didn't say, oh, do you want to play card? She's saying in a very flirtatious hint of, oh, do you want to go back home with this guy? It's pretty clear what the intention is based on the way that she says it.
Well, it's this way anyway.
Alright, so let's just walk.
And so I baby step at it. Oh, it's this way anyway, so let's start heading there. Then the audio cuts out, but my cameraman still got the video at least. And then basically the clip ends with us leaving, and instead we end up getting an Uber. And as far as like, how do you turn that situation? How do you actually have a threesome? Maybe I'll make a separate video about that. It's pretty easy. The best technique that I know of that's worked for me is called a tandem massage. You bring up this idea of a tandem massage, so then you all end up basically massaging each other. And when you're all massaging each other, it's very easy for that to escalate into something sexual. And a lot of times, that's all you have to do. So I hope you enjoyed this video and this breakdown. Showing pulls is something very few coaches do, because a lot of these coaches, they don't pull. I mean, that's why they don't pull, and so they don't show infield of pulls, and that's how it's very easy to get misled by someone who's a good presenter. They're good at talking to a camera, they're good at the whole YouTube thing, good marketer, but if they don't have infield of pulls, they don't show results, they don't show things like this, that's a sign that there's a reason, right? It's probably not a coincidence. Not, oh, I just don't want it. Why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't, if you have proof that you get results, why wouldn't you show it?